Hi guys, Bob here, and the purpose of this video is it's a channel update. I am going to be moving my artwork from this channel to a new channel today. The channel will be up and running when this video is uploaded. It's not at the moment, but there's a few reasons for this. My channel has had a lot of support from the artwork side of things, and my channel is pretty much a variety channel, kind of focusing around gaming, but on YouTube land that doesn't particularly work well in terms of moving yourself forward, I guess. And I've always thought about doing this. I've mentioned it a few times about moving the artwork, but this time it's actually going to happen. The main reasons all my videos that are popular are of me speed drawing. Those ones tend to get the most views, and then continual views, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to go on about this too much, but this channel will remain. This channel really is the reason I got into YouTube. I got into YouTube because I wanted to be part of a kind of community and meet people who were like-minded, and I seen this community existing, and that community's kind of accepted me into their fold, whatever you want to call it. Both interactions with video responses from Kev down the Rabbit Hole, Swifto, Alan Mainmeister. It used to be Neil, and there's loads of other people. Nathan's Gaming. So yeah, basically the artwork's moving across. The intention's to put up a new drawing every 2 weeks. So this channel might suffer a wee bit. I'm not overly worried about that. I'm still going to be producing content for this channel as well, but it will mainly be this type of video, me answering questions, me talking about gaming, if there's something specific to talk about, if there's somebody who's come up with some questions that are worth answering. So on that note, all I'm going to say is the artwork will be taken down from this channel. Not all of it. The ones that I have spent a long time working on, there will still be a few art videos on here, but the ones like the Peaky Blinders, Ariana Grande, etc. will be moving across to this new channel, and they'll be uploaded as part of a schedule. And it's just to see if that consistency of having an art specific channel makes a difference. And I've got a kind of 5-year plan. We'll see how it does over kind of 3 to 5 years. And if it does well, good. It's maybe a sideline for me through selling merchandise or whatever. Really enjoying doing my artwork at the moment. It's been nice to get a nice fresh burst. I've done 5 drawings I think in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So it's been really refreshing to get back into it and really enjoy it. So back to this. I decided, rather than just doing a channel update about me moving my artwork over, I'll leave a link in the description. I would appreciate if you can go across and check it out, and if you want to, then by all means subscribe. All the new artwork will be going on there, unless it's a scribble that I've done for maybe a video like this where I'm talking and drawing. I come up with some questions. Now you can feel free to answer these questions back if you want. I did actually kind of steal them from the Friday Waffle, so I hope Alan doesn't mind. It's not something I'm going to be doing often, but it's a good place to try and get some ideas for questions, because Kev down the Rabbit Hole asks lots of questions, loads of other people ask questions, and it was good. I just went back and went through a few videos, found some questions I thought were kind of along my lines of gaming, and I was going to go through them. So the first question is, will VR take off? Now this was a question back in January 2016 by Kev, and it was one of the Friday Waffles, and the question was, will VR take off? Will we get the holodeck experience, or will it be the new Kinect? So I just wanted to talk about my VR experience. We're obviously 4 years down the line now. VR is very much established as a not mainstream but a side gaming system that people are really getting into. As far as I can tell, I don't see any downturn in the pickup of it. There's even the cableless ones. I've seen somebody selling a an Oculus Quest on the Facebook the other day. So yeah, I think VR has taken off. When I first bought my PlayStation VR, I was really concerned that I've just bought this for £350 plus £60 for the Move controllers plus the camera was another amount of money, so it was like 400 odd pounds altogether. It was a massive amount of money. It was a Christmas present for me, and I remember going out and just my mind being absolutely blown away by Astrobot and a little game called Illuminate, which was a storybook idea that you can watch happening in front of your eyes. Then you've got the games that have come out since, Moss. You've got the Star Trek game, Bridge Crew, amazing games, just brilliant games. And yeah, it just I actually really like VR. So the other week, my daughter's birthday was here. One of my daughter's birthdays was here, and we bought Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a scary teddy bear factory game thing. I put it on for 2 minutes. I couldn't even play it. It was so scary. I can't even imagine me trying to play Resident Evil 7. I just don't have the stomach for that. But I did also download Tetris, and I was expecting it to be maybe a bit more 3D. I don't know whether it changes later on, but more or less it's just Tetris in front of you in a kind of 2D format with lots of 3D things happening around about you. A weird soundtrack that some of the songs I like, some of them are like, that's a bit odd. So yeah, but overall my VR experience hasn't been a Kinect. I never really had a Kinect, but I think I got one further down the line, played it once, some sort of jungle game, and then it just get put in a box, the same as the Wii. The Wii, my kids, when the lockdown started, my kids come and said, I can set up the Wii, can we play bowling? Got it all set up, it was played with for 5 minutes and then put away, whereas the VR is a consistent, it's not like gaming, it's not every day, but most weekends the VR comes out just for a wee bit of time. For one of the kids will be playing Beat Saber, which is a big hit in our house. So my kids play Beat Saber. Oh, I'm losing the feeling in my foot. Yeah, so the next question I have is consoles I have never owned but would have liked to or would like to. So since beginning YouTube, and I think I kind of go into one of these questions later on, there's been a few gaming systems which I've never heard of. But the games consoles, if you want to call them consoles, if you don't want to call them consoles, well, at least one of them. So the Vectrex is probably top of my list. I would love to own a Vectrex. Alan, I think, was discussing this in his Friday waffle the other day. But I never even heard of Vectrex before I started YouTube. I did manage to get a shot of one when I was at Play Glasgow, which was really great, and I really enjoyed it. And there's something just amazing looking about that system, and when it was released, and how mind blowing it must have been for people back then to have this arcadey type game system in their house, which plays these really kind of great vector graphic games. And even when you see the games that are being released nowadays that Kev reviews, and I think Alan sometimes reviews them, it's just really cool that people can program for these things still, and that they can still keep going. And obviously it's a bit of an issue. That's why I don't pick up a lot of gaming systems, because I don't have the time. I don't play games that much. I play, especially now with this art taken off, I've really stopped playing my PlayStation, even though I've downloaded the PlayStation Plus games, which we don't know what the next month is, which is odd. It's normally been released by now. So, yeah, the other two consoles I've got in here is a Wii U. The Wii U I'd really like, because I like the Wii, but I hated the standard definition compared to, I think PlayStation 3 was out at the time, as was the Xbox 360, which just, I think that is part of the reason why the Wii didn't do, or the Wii did well. I mean, the original Wii did well, but the Wii U should have been the Wii. In my opinion, the Wii U should have been the one that was released first, and HD, and obviously within the capabilities that were available at that time. So the Wii U didn't do well, and I see the games and I think it looks really good, and I think it's the thing I like about Nintendo is it's a nice break from blood, gore, and guts, which most PlayStation games are. Most PlayStation games, you're killing somebody, or whereas your Zeldas, yes, you might be killing people in Zelda, I suppose, but it's not the same graphic gore. It's not quite as 18. Best way to describe it. So the last one I've got here is the GameCube. I never owned a GameCube. I've never even played a game on the GameCube, but I hear so many good things about it, and I would love to just have it and have a try and see what the hype is that I read. Maybe I'm incorrect and I don't know, but the hype I read on the Wii, the GameCube, intrigues me. I don't even know what games are good for it, but I would like one. I like the look of them as well than just kind of basic box shape. So that's the three consoles that I've wrote down. There's probably any console I'd love to own just to try it and see, but those are the three that kind of popped into my mind kind of straight off writing that question down. So the next question is, what games TV show did you watch as a kid? And what was your thoughts on them, I guess? So there is only really one UK game show, but the reason I wrote this question down, I thought, well, there's no point in that. Everybody's going to answer the same question, which is my answer, which is Games Master. Dominic Diamond presenting. And that's because in the UK that was only kind of real one that was available at the time. There was no internet, so there was no YouTube videos to go and watch. But the reason I wrote it down was because Kev especially, I don't know whether he can answer this question at some point or even in the comments about what game show he watched. But I don't know what happened in Canada. Was game shows a big thing? Was it in America or anybody else that's watching and anywhere else in the world? And as a younger viewing audience, if anybody's younger watching this, did you ever see a gaming show? What would your game footage come from? Is it just YouTube? Because that's what everybody does these days. So for me, it was Games Master. Games Master I absolutely loved it. I looked forward to it. It was like having grown up, going to John Menzies and going to Woolworths at the time. Woolworths was never really that good for games, but John Menzies, my mum used to work in John Menzies, and I used to go in and they'd have the Spectrum games, and I used to go through them, and great stuff. I mean, just going back to memories, you've got no idea what you're going to look at unless you've bought a magazine. And Games Master was that next level. Games Master was where you could physically see somebody playing the game on your TV. Didn't exist, there was no YouTube. It was the way that you could see games and you were so excited to find out what games were going to get played that week. I was into football at the time, so I did like the football challenges that were kind of a consistent thing. But just seeing the new technology, there was no money bounds with these big TV shows, so you could see all the different systems getting played. I loved Games Master. I absolutely loved Alan Mainmeister's interview with Dominic Diamond. I've listened to that interview 2-3 times, if not more. The guy seems such a genuinely nice guy. There was issues, which you can go and listen to Alan's what's it called? Blimey, it's only Dominic Diamond. So just hearing that, I mean, he's living in Canada now. I believe he's on the radio there. But yeah, Games Master was just amazing. I loved Games Master. I never watched any of the newer ones that people mention. I don't even think I'd heard of them. I probably was older at that point and had children early, so my life moved over to being Family Bob for many years, and now that they're getting older, I've got much more time to do YouTube and stuff. So that's question 3. Question 4. What have I learned from starting YouTube about gaming? Or how's my life changed, I guess, maybe, since starting YouTube? YouTube's become such a big part of my life, and you don't really realise it. It kind of happens gradually. You drop things that you were maybe doing before, and it takes a certain segment of your life that you don't really want to not have, and when you don't do it and you take a break from doing YouTube, you then have this kind of wee missing piece. So YouTube's became a big part of my life, especially from doing the artwork and from really the main one would be getting involved in the community of gamers that are out there, kind of classic or retro gaming people. And it's been nice to have that kind of friendship. So I appreciate everybody's friendship that talks to me and leaves comments, and it's really great. So thank you for that. It is nice. It's nice to know that when you put up a video, you're going to see at least one comment, maybe a couple of comments, just from regular people who, and then you can go watch their response to you, or you can interact, and it's nice. It's just nice. So it's probably the biggest thing I've learned from doing YouTube. But before YouTube, what did I do with my spare time? I did game, not as much though. I was always into the creative side, so I talked about this in the past. I used to program apps, which has kind of died away. I used to do a lot of 3D, so whenever it was somebody's birthday, it was one of these ideas I had, let's make a 3D birthday card, an interactive 3D birthday card with a 3D Toy Story character or something for a kid's birthday, and we'll try seeing if people want to buy that. So I spent a lot of time doing 3D modelling and learning Blender and 3D Maya, mainly Blender though, because it's free and open source, whereas Maya I only had for 3 years as a licensed product. So yeah, I mean the other biggest thing that I've learned from YouTube, because that's kind of what my life was before, but the biggest thing I've learned is that I know nothing about game systems or what existed. For me, growing up, there was two systems. There was the Spectrum and the Commodore. There was nothing else. For most part of my growing up, there was those two systems. The Acorn Electron was the other one. Going past that to when I got my Master System and Mega Drive, there was two systems. There was Nintendo and there was Sega. There wasn't any of these other systems that I had even heard of. Then it was PlayStation, Xbox. And I realised when I started YouTube that my vision of games was so narrow. There was this thing called the PC Engine, there was this thing called the Vectrex, there was this thing called the ColecoVision, and television. I'm trying to think of all the ones of the Amstrad. I don't even think I think I knew that Amstrad existed because it used to be, but the Amstrad was like some weird thing out there that just appeared as an unobtainable computer system, but it had really good graphics from what I could see. Oh, losing feeling in my feet again. But the Amstrad CPC, from what I can see though, it did come out later. I've got a magazine there showing the kind of launch. It's in one of the Crash magazines. But yeah, it really has opened my eyes to this level of gaming and indie games and recreation. Berserk, I'd never even heard of Berserk before I started YouTube. I'd never heard of half the arcade games that I now have in my dining room on my MAME cab. I've just discovered a lot from just watching YouTube and watching people's videos, people asking questions about things, and then I go and Google it to find out what that thing is. Going to the play events and meeting Alan and getting to play these systems like the Vectrex, like my old Spectrum, and getting to a shot in Robotron. I mean, Robotron's became one of my most favourite games to go to on a Friday, have a bottle of beer, get out and Robotron on and go play it. And yeah, it's just been a great experience being on YouTube, and long may it continue. Whether I move over to other formats or something later on, that remains to be seen, because as my kids grow older and maybe more room opens up in the house, I can maybe do live streaming. It's just not something I'm comfortable doing at the moment. So I've learned a lot from YouTube, and it would be good maybe to hear if any of you guys have learned, or what you've learned from YouTube that you perhaps didn't know before, or what was your purpose of coming onto YouTube, and what was the drive. For me, I was actually drawing, and I would be watching Dean Thompson escape to gaming. I'd be watching Alan. I'd be watching Novabug, because that's how I got introduced to quite a lot of people, is because of the Friday foursome, which I've talked about and done video responses to. But I'm sitting watching the Friday Force and he's like, oh, this week's winner is Crow, this week's winner is Kev down the rabbit hole, this week's winner is. And from there, I started subscribing to these other channels and then realised, no, I really like their content as well. So yeah, YouTube's been a really good thing for me, especially from a social point of view, because I'm quite a loner, probably best way. I've got a large family, I've got a wife and 5 children, but outside of that I don't have physical friends that come round to my house on a regular basis. I do have people I know in the periphery, and I've got my work colleagues because a lot of my time is spent at work. But YouTube is kind of the interaction on a non-personal level that's nice. You don't have to get into all that kind of drama about various who's seen who and you've not seen me in ages. It's a disconnected relationship, but a nicer one in some ways, because there's no obligation really. I know I've said people do video response to this or maybe answer the questions in the comments, so in some ways that's an obligation, but you've got a choice. You don't have to do it. I'm not going to shout at you. I'm not going to get upset and fall out with you for ages. So I like YouTube from that point of view. It's a nice disconnected friendship in some ways. It's something simpler about it. You see Bangkok Ian just turn up and have a beer and talk nonsense or put up a video of gameplay and you check it out, but he doesn't come back and say, why did you not check out my last video? So it's nice. I like YouTube from that point of view. So the last question on here is going back to my first point, that the channel is now going to remove the artwork from this channel, move it on to this other channel, and subscribe if you're into the artwork. But the purpose is to try and grow that as an art channel for people who are solely interested in art. There won't be any vlogs on that channel, just to make that. It's just going to be painting and maybe a tutorial if I get around to that, but initially it's just going to be a speed paint with music. There's not going to be any talking or anything like that. But it brings me on to my last question. The last question is, what was my favourite magazine cover? I wasn't into art. I've been into art all my life, as since lies. From doing comic books to doing Garfield drawings to doing 3D Blender stuff. But I wouldn't ever say I seriously pursued a career in art as a full-time passion. I did apply, get into some college courses, but chose to get in the engineering route. So growing up with these magazines, it was Crash magazine, and the last question is, for me, is what is my favourite Crash magazine cover? But if you're wanting to answer these questions, what is your favourite magazine cover? Do you have one? What was your favourite magazine even? But in November 1987, now I would have been single digits. You all know my age anyway, so I'd have been 7 or 8, 7 at the time. I don't know whether I got the magazines at that point or whether I got them later on, whether it's just having joined YouTube that I downloaded all these magazines, started going through them, and especially looking at them from an art point of view. But the one that sticks out is Rampage. So the game Rampage, you'll have maybe seen the movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I quite like the movie. I quite like anything that he does, to be honest. I quite like that. Kooky comedy type thing. They're not always that substantial, but you get what I mean. But Rampage, so you're George the gorilla. I'm reading off my notes, by the way, in case I keep looking that way. George the gorilla, Lizzie the lizard, and Ralph the wolf. I mean, why was he not called Willie the wolf, or Wally the wolf, or Wilfred the wolf? But yeah, there's a magazine cover, and I'll put it on the screen. You've got a building, and you've got George, you've got Lizzie, and you've got Ralph crashing through this building like it's butter. And there's helicopters crashing and helicopters trying to escape, and you've got guys running away from this horrible scene. But the detail in that, Oliver Frey drew this. And if you look at the front of Crash magazine and Zap magazine, you're just like, the detail in those drawings, I mean, it's outstanding. It's the same as the sci-fi covers for books. But if you imagine you're Oliver Frey and every month you're having to do a drawing for the cover of a magazine, it just is, it's outstanding when you see what he produced for a an 8-bit computer magazine. I mean, if you'd, I think it's just luck. I mean, it's just luck that he was that artist that was there, and obviously part of actually the creation of the magazine in its entirety. But if you were just some magazine guy saying, right, I don't know that you'd have the passion to draw these and be that picture of these monsters crashing through this building. It makes you want to buy the game. It makes you want to go out that day and buy the game. And I think that's true of a lot of Oliver Frey's artwork. And some artwork like John Wakelin. John Wakelin? Wakelin. Anyway, his artwork as well. Any artwork at that time was amazing because it was what told you the story, because you didn't have screenshots. You might then be able to look through the magazine and get the screenshots, but you would buy the magazine because you'd just seen this amazing front picture. And I'll put it on the screen. It is one that I would love to have the capability to draw. It's one that I will try to eventually draw something similar, but I don't feel I've got the skill at the moment. I'm doing a lot of learning on brushes within Photoshop at the moment, how to make them real life, how to do oil painting, how to do charcoal painting. There's a lot of skill involved in terms of trying to learn the Photoshop stuff and how you set up all the brushes. So I'm having to watch a lot of YouTube to try and learn how to do that type of thing. But yeah, that's the 5 questions I've come up with to kind of incorporate into this channel update. The light behind me is one that my son bought me for my birthday. It's one of these ring lights, so thankfully it's good because I've got a light source that I can just plug in and transport around. I had to kind of try and find a place to put this because there's just noise all around my house, everywhere else. My boy's still sleeping through there. It's 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, so he's still in his kip. But yeah guys, so if you wish to do a comment below or a video response, feel free. The questions are: VR, did it hold up? From your initial thoughts about VR before it launched, did it hold up? Consoles that you would like to own, 3, to keep it as a, because I'm sure everybody would like to own them all. What game TV shows did you watch as a kid? What did you do before YouTube with your spare time, and which YouTube taught you? So I guess there's kind of 2 questions there. It's kind of rolled into one. And the 5th question is, what's your favourite magazine or your favourite magazine cover? Because I know everybody's not into artwork, but if you like the magazine because they had the best reviews, they showed the best screenshots, the brutal honesty about games, then is that why it was your favourite magazine? So if I get responses to this, happy days. If I don't, that's the beauty of YouTube, is I've got a video to upload that people might want to watch. And also there's that disconnected factor that I'm not going to fall out with you if you don't answer the questions. So much appreciate everybody for coming along, and especially if you're here for the artwork and that's all you're interested in. I mean, I'll be here to do the face-to-face stuff, but if you're just interested in watching the drawings happen over a short period of time with some music, that's where it's all going to be. It's going to be over there. There might be some artwork in here, doubtful. Going forward, I'm going to more concentrate on just doing this type of stuff, more real life stuff, more gaming stuff, maybe some gameplays. I've got a couple of gameplays that I've actually recorded which I've never uploaded. And sometimes it's just because I worry I'm trying to do some of this channel that's just not happening. Because every time I upload a video, I lose subscribers. I have plateaued at 600 for several months, if not the best part of a year now. And that's not a problem from this channel's point of view, but whenever I draw something, I think to myself, okay, I'm happy with that drawing. I look at other art channels and they're getting loads of views, and I think, well, the problem I've got is that I'm mixing my art stuff in with all this other gaming stuff, me talking to the camera, me going down the beach and doing a nice walk along the beach with some footage, a music video with Halloween stuff in it. It's just a big mishmash of everything. Anyway, guys, thank you kindly for watching. I will be back, and I hope you guys are well. So cheers, and wee Bob is out. Bye.